So now we'll learn about how to create archive and compression in Linux. So in Windows, we usually use a single program to compress and archive files. So some of the programs that we use like WinRAR or WinZip. But in Linux, this is different case. Archiving and compressing are two different operations. So basically, in Linux, we need to use separate tools to perform archiving and compression. So to perform archiving, so we will use a tar, which is an archiver, right? So what tar does is it will archive multiple files into a single file, but without compression. So if you would like to compress a file in Linux, so you need to use another tool such as gzip or bzip2. Okay, so for example, gzip, it will use or handles the .gz extension, and what it does, it will reduce the disk space used by the files. However, even though you have two separate tools, but you can combine the operation using several options, which I will discuss later on. Alright, so in this lab, first I will teach you how to compress a file using gzip tools. So before I start, I need to create few files, okay, for compression. So you have to remember that for gzip or bzip2, so they will compress the file individually, right? So now the first thing that I need to do is I will create few files in the documents directory. So I see the documents. So currently there are no files in documents directory, so I will create 4 files, which is node, week 1, week 2, and week 3. So we will I need to create another file, week 3. Alright, so we view back. So now we have 4 files here. So the first operation, remember, in this example, I use gzip tools to compress a node file. So we can compress by issuing the command gzip node. So if I view back, so you can see that node file has been compressed. Right, and the files is in red color, meaning it's a compressed file. Okay, so how can we decompress back? So to decompress back, you can refer to example 2. So the command is the same, in which we use gzip command, but this time we need to add the options D for decompress. So gzip -D. So this time you need to make sure that you decompress node file with extension .gz. So I view back, so you can see that now the node file has been decompressed. Alright, so if you have many files to be compressed, so you can compress all files under a directory. To do that, you need to change your directory one level up. Alright, so now we are in student home directory. So this time you will use the option -R for recursive compression. So, and specify the directory that we would like to operate on. So now I view back the content of documents directory, and now all of the file has been compressed. You can also decompress all of the files under documents directory by just adding the decompress option. So if I view back, now all of the files under documents directory has been decompressed. Next, let us look at how can we combine the tar, the archiving operation, with compression. So before we go to the examples, so let us look at the options that we could use to combine compression and archive together. So in order to do that, we need to understand the options here. So first, before I explain about the options there, so I need to explain about tarball. So when you use tar, so basically they will, like I said before, it will archive multiple files together. So all of the file will be archived into a tarball. So tarball is the name used to identify collections of files that have been archived into a single file by the tar application, whether it is compressed or not. So whether you use compression or not. Alright, so in here, if you want to create a tarball, so you need to use option C. If you want to extract a tarball, so you need to use option X. V is for verbose outputs, meaning during the compression and archiving, they will tell which file they are the applications is currently extracting. Z if you want to use gzip tools to compress. J is if you use bzip tool to compress, and F is the tarball file name. Alright, where we want to use this file name for archiving. So now let us proceed with the example of how we can combine the archive and compression operation. So in the first example, I will use the basic two tools to create a tar as a compression tools. And later on I will show how we can use compression tools and combine together with the tar tools. Now let me clear the screen first. So the command is tar, because we would like to create an archive. So C is to create a tarball. J because we want to use the basic tool, compression tool. V for verbose output, and F is we use the following name for the tar file. So backup.tar.bz2. So we use the extension bz2, right? Then we specify what are the files that we would like to archive and compress. So I just use again the file that we have created before, which is node week 1, week 2, and week 3. Oh, my mistake. So we have to go to the documents first, because the files, all of the files is in the documents. So let's see. Alright, so all of the files are there. So I'll rewrite again command tar cgvf backup.tar.bz2, and then all of the files. Let us do for week 1, week 2, and week 3. Alright. So if you choose the options verbose, so it will show what are the files that you created, or that you try to archive, or you try to extract. So now I list back, so you can see that now the new tar file has been created here, which is backup.tar.bz2. So we can repeat the process, or try to do it again using another compression tools, which is the gzip compression tools. So for gzip, the command is pretty much the same, but the only difference is instead of using J options, so now we use Z option. Okay, so make sure that the extension of the tar files is now changed to .gz. That's the extension for gzip compression tools. And then we press enter, so you can see that if I try to list back, now you have created a new archive and compress files using the tar and gzip compression tools. Now, how can we extract? To extract the file, so basically I will extract the file in another location, because if you extract the files on the same, because you already have the original files in documents folder, so I will create a notes folder, right? So nothing is in notes, so I'll change my directory to notes as nothing's there. So now I will extract the tar file into the notes directory. So tar, so X to extract. The rest is the same, it depends on the type of compression tool that you use, so either J or Z. F, so specify the name of the file. So now backup is actually in documents, so which is one level up. So I use double dot to go one level up, to point to the location of backup.tar.bz2. Alright, so ls, so now all of the file from the tar file backup.tar.bz2 has been extracted into notes directory.